Hey there everyone, so you remember that game called ARMS for the Switch? You probably forgot about it till just now, but today is its 3rd year anniversary. Unless you're watching this later, which changes how you are, but it was. So I actually really liked ARMS, and I'll be the first to admit it did have some problems, but I do think it deserves a sequel, and Nintendo doesn't usually abandon franchises like right away, so I think a sequel is definitely very possible. But today, to celebrate this anniversary, I wanted to discuss what I think ARMS 2 needs and should have to make it a big Nintendo franchise, maybe more along the lines of Splatoon. So, firstly, I think it's gotta have like new types. So, in ARMS, each arm or hand or whatever, each weapon thing is assigned a different type. There's like 7 types. There's like fire, electric, wind, poison. There's a few others. I didn't do a lot of research here, but you get the point. I think that they need to have more types, but the thing is with the original arms, what the arms types did is that if you hit an opponent when it's charged up, that talent or that type would be applied to them. So I think what should happen with the new types is it helps you. Like, instead of hurting them, I think it should help you. So a few ideas I have for types would be like hover. So like if you got like a charge up meter similar to like the chain attack, or this actually the best example of what I'm trying to talk about, it would probably be the Splatoon special meter. You know how you charge up your special, although I'd make it a little bit longer to charge up, a little bit harder to charge up, just because these are going to be pretty big. But so like the ideas I have would be like hover, so you can just, you hover a little bit above the ground, which could make them a little bit hard to hit. I think that'd be real cool. Metal, so that basically would just be like armor. So, like in Splatoon, the ink armor. Basically that. And it reduces damage pretty well for a short period. All of these are for short period, just keep that in mind. Dash, it gives you super speed. One thing that was a little weird in ARMS, was just like the movement was not very fluent. And I know, like, in real life boxing and fighting, the people aren't running around the stage. They're usually facing each other, going at it. But I think the movement should be a little bit more fluent. Moving just wasn't very pleasant in ARMS. So, dash would give you better speed. And then a clone. So this is, I got this from the Dash Cherry, or the double cherry? I think it's the double cherry. And Mario 3D World, basically that. Show you a clone of you, just for like a very short amount of time. Helps you, gets a few punches on them. Slow down, basically slows your opponents to a crawl, but you don't. It's basically, the zone speed for Mario Tennis Aces is basically identical to that. So you probably get a better idea what I mean by that. Just like, they slow down, but you don't, so you have time to like lead them, get a few good hits on them. So I think that all of those would really increase just the strategy. I think it would really increase the strategy, and that is one thing that I think ARMS was lacking, is there wasn't a ton of strategy. There was some, but not a lot. So I think those would help strategy a lot, and I think those would be real cool. So that'd be real nice. So then the second thing, and this is huge, obviously, it needs a real story mode. Because, the first ARMS had Grand Prix, which was basically you fought, like, I think it was like 7-ish, somewhere around there. You fought 7 fighters in a row, and once you beat them all, then you go to a final thing, which was Max, Brass, and Headlock. And once you beat that, you go. And you can beat it with every character if you want, but it's not really a story. It's not a story mode. I think it needs a story mode about the length of Splatoon's, like Octo Canyons from the first two games. It would be a little weird. I'm not totally sure how you would go about it. Maybe you would do like a World of Light, but I don't really think that would be great. I don't know. Some ideas I have would be like just create some generic arms enemies. You know how like Splatoon, the generic enemies are the Octomons. Create like that, so you just have little arms that don't extend that far, but they extend a little bit, just little guys. Cool bosses. That's one thing that's great about Splatoon is it's got like the Splatoon bosses are fantastic. I love them. Definitely, probably the main highlight of the Octo Canyons is the bosses are great. So it needs cool bosses to give it personality and make it memorable. So I would say like small stages would probably be the best way to go. Where you run around a little area and those generic enemies, maybe they like fly down on the ground from a parachute or something like that, and then you have to fight them. And there's also like things you have to dodge. Or what I think would be real cool would be like you meet her, and you have to, like I talked about before with like, you know, the hover, the armor, the clone, the dash, all that. You have to use that to help you along the way and do certain puzzles. I think that'd be real cool. So, and just make it, just make it good. You know, it's real basic, but just make it a decent size. Even just a few hours, even just a few hours, I think would go a long way. I think that would help a lot. Like, I think that is an absolute must. Like, if there's anything on this list that needs to happen, it is a story mode that's at least a few hours long and has generic enemies and bosses and stuff like that. It has to. It's not a option, really. At this point, I don't think it is. So then the third would be online tournaments, just like Mario Tennis Aces. I didn't love Mario Tennis Aces, but it did have a lot of good elements. So the ARMS Online was a little bit interesting. You were thrown into a group, and the group could have up to 8 people. Or was it 8? I think it was 8. I don't know. But it might have been 10. I don't know. But you take them, and there were different things you could go in. A lot of times it was like a single battle going on, a 2v2 battle going on, a hoops match going on, a volleyball match going on, a headlock fight going on, and you were randomly thrown into one of those with other people in like the party group. Which it was cool, and I think they should return, but I also think it should have online bracketed tournaments. You know, you got like, you could do 32, 64, 16, whatever, people in a bracket. And Smash has this too, you know how Smash has online tournaments. I think it's 32. Yeah, just make it like 32. That'd be cool. That'd be a fine size. And just go. And I think I love brackets. I'll be the first to tell you that I love brackets. So I could fill out brackets for random stuff all day, but you know, I think it'd be real cool. And you know, you could get like prizes for winning. I don't know what those would be, but I think that'd be real cool. So then I think it needs like a secondary mode. You know how, like the original ARMS, you know, it's got the hoops and the volleyballs and your stuff like that. But I think it needs like a co-op mode that can be online, a little bit like Salmon Run. My idea, it doesn't have to be this, but the idea I had would be like you're in a big cage, and you and 1 or 2 other people, you're like in a cage, and then there's like big bosses or monsters that come out from all angles, and you have to all get them, and if you win, you get XP to help you upgrade your arms or get new arms. Speaking of which, I think they should get rid of the arms getter. That was a little weird. You know, you would get money for winning battles, and you would use that money to play the arms getter game, and you could get arms, and you could upgrade each arm up to 1 time. So if you got a new arm, you got a new arm. If you hit an arm out of a present you already got, you could upgrade it, but you can only upgrade it once. I think it was fine. They want to implement it in some way. Okay. But I don't think that's the best way to go about it. I think the best way would be getting XP. And you can use XP to upgrade or get new arms. And you can get XP from winning or the co-op knockout mode like I talked about. I think that's the best way. And also, like in Splatoon, you know, like you can use money to scrub abilities. I think they should do that too. Like you can scrub your specials that I talked about at the beginning of the video, and you can get new ones. I think that'd be good. And I talked about this a little bit before. Easier range of movement. I didn't really like the movement. I didn't think it was that great. It doesn't have to be, you know, like you can run around full speed, but you know, I think you should be able to, you know, jog around the stage at a pretty good pace. So I would like that. So next would be like just return all the characters. But then obviously add new characters. The character designs were very good in Arms 1. I would say the characters and the music were the highlights of Arms. The characters were very unique, they had personalities, kind of, but their designs, I really like their designs. They come up with a lot of good ideas. You know, there was Springman and Ribbon Girl, which were like the two main. Those looked more like normal people, with some different attributes, obviously. And then you got a ninja, you got a mummy, you got a weird glob thing, you got a snake, and all of them, and then those stages, you know, that each of them had a home arena, and I like that. So, like, if you are playing, let's say, you've got a match that's like Min Min versus Ribbon Girl, you know it's either going to be played at Ribbon Girl stage or Min Min stage. You can't get Fight and Bark stage, and I know some people think that's kind of lame. I like it. As someone who likes sports, I like the idea of home and away arenas. And some people might say this is a little bit unfair, but I think if they could find a way to add a tiny bit of limitations in some way to the road player, you know, the player who's not at their home arena, not enough where their chances of winning are like really low, but just something like maybe you got a crowd in the background, and every once in a while a crowd, someone in the crowd like throws a banana and it slips them up for a couple seconds, something like that. I think that'd be cool. I'd like that. But yeah, add some new characters. Just do whatever you did for Arms 1, coming up with characters, do it again. The characters were great. Same with music. The music was great. So just keep doing that. Return all players, all characters, and then maybe I'd like 5 more or something like that, and then music and new music and stages. That was all great. That was just fantastic. The Arms developers did a real good job with that. So yeah. And finally, do not release it between 2 big established multiplayer franchises. What are you doing? You released it right smack dab in between Mario Kart 8 Deluxe and Splatoon 2. 2 big multiplayer franchises. Why? I literally just, from a business standpoint, it hurts my brain. I think I lose brain cells whenever I think about that decision. You know, it would be different if Mario Kart and Splatoon were both single-player franchises. But when Arms is multiplayer, both of those are big established multiplayer franchises, why? I don't get it, but whatever. So that's what I want from Arms 2, I think. Whether or not, like I said before, I do think Arms has a good chance of getting a sequel. My only question at this point would be whether it will be on the Switch or be on the sequel to the Switch, you know, 5 years down the road or whatever. I don't know. I think I think those are pretty equally possible. I wouldn't be shocked either way. But yeah, I think if they did those things, I think ARMS would. I don't think it'd be like one of Nintendo's biggest franchises, but I do think it would sell well and get a lot of fans and have a good online community. So yeah, that's what I want. Thanks for watching. Happy birthday, ARMS. And yeah, I'm gonna go wait for the ARMS Smash announcement. Come on, Sakurai, give us Min Min already.